Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Russian firearms present on the Practical Weapons channel. Today we're going to talk about the handguns used by both Russian Imperial, Red Army, and the Soviet Army in the World War II, World War I, and at the same time, when? In the Japanese War. So we have several conflicts in the beginning of 20th century that Russia or Soviet Union participated in, where these guns participated, so to speak. 1905, that's a war with Japan. 1914, World War I. In 1917, Civil War. 1939, Russia and Finland. I'm not counting the visit from Russia to the Poland, Warsaw, in the beginning, in the early years. There was also additional conflict. If I remember correctly, there was a Russian-Japan conflict. Small. It's not a war. It wasn't a war per se. It was a conflict called Khalkhin-Gol. Then we're talking about that. I don't remember what year it was. In 1941 through 1945 is World War II. In Russia, it was called the Great National War. In Russian, Великая Отечественная война, Great Отечественная National Война, War. In this case, what we have as far as firearms, in many ways, Nagan served in all of these. Starting approximately in 1930, which would be for these, we would have Tete. And then at the end of the 40s, beginning early 50s, would come the PM, which is Makarov, which you don't see on the table because there is no point. I want to compare the two handguns that were used in the beginning, and those are Nagan and Tokarev, and these are the real ones, as you probably are not aware of. This is an actual World War II 1943 Tokarev. This is a model TT-33, 1933 model. There was a 1930 model, older, nearly impossible to find in the US. And this is a Soviet revolver, 1937 Nagan. Belgium made, Russia made. Big difference. Also very important to consider. Both of these firearms are in 7.62 caliber, 7.62 by 38, 7.62 by 25. Both of those are Russian calibers. They're not used almost anywhere else. However, for those that are not aware, you can use 32 long and short Smith-Wesson in Nagan. And there was a Belgium Nagan that used the same 32 caliber. Those sometimes are possible to be found in the US on auctions and so forth. Let's take this thing apart. It is fairly easy once you know how, and I had to learn myself. I'm an American. I've been here longer than in Russia by long difference. So start by turning this off, pulling it out. Of course, all guns have been safety checked. There is not a single round in anything. I'm going to do a basic field disassembly. So I pulled it out. Rotate until you clear the way for the barrel being held. Not the barrel, the drum. Now the drum is removed. You can take this part out if need be. There's an extra spring. This is the basic field disassembly for revolver Nagan. I'm going to use the Russian terms. You can insert it back by pressing the drum pole on there, whatever the term is for that thing. Make sure it sits correctly, or more or less correctly. Make sure this is still in the right spot. Insert it back until it clicks. Turn, insert, rotate. This is a single action, double action revolver. Done. Tokarev is a little bit more fun to disassemble. Take the mag out. See the strip here? Use the top of the mag, my understanding, or the back of the mag, to pull it back. If you succeed on the first try, that would be great. You don't have to take it all the way off. You can keep it partially on as well. However, I did take it all the way off. So I'm going to put it on a magnet. Now, it does help to chamber a little bit. Double checking everything. Make sure you get to the point where you can pull the slide lock down, holding the spring down. Careful to not let go too much. Take this off, take the barrel out by moving it forward, unlike 1911. This is disassembled slide, and you can take the trigger assembly out as well. This is the Tokarev disassembled. Very easy, right? Again, you don't have to take this strip all the way off. That was probably my mistake, haven't done it for a while. It's easier or better to keep it on the gun. Just like this, just not all the way. That's it. Now I'm going to be doing modifications to the Tokarev a little bit, and you can get to watch. Guess what? I have a compensator and I have a set of new grips. However, I'm going to install them after I'm done with the rest. So, as you have seen, in reverse, insert the barrel, link. Here, the barrel is set. See, you can do this. Make sure you insert it the right way. I have not done this before, but my understanding is you insert it and you turn it one way or another. See? Now you just pull it back, right? And not right. Not right. Okay, let's see this model. The barrel stays in. Okay, let's take the barrel out and let's make sure there's a fit and finish on this. compensator muzzle brake device. It might just not fit, strangely enough. It might not fit. Huh. It should fit though. I know it's kind of a bad thing that I'm doing this to the real War II gun, but I wanted to make something special out of it. And I might not be successful. Well, I guess not. In that case, let's put it all the way back. See, this is the way it's supposed to fit, just fine. This compensator does not fit this barrel, unfortunately. You're supposed to insert it here, then rotate all the way. It does not want to rotate, unlike the original one. That is a pity. That indeed is a pity. Now, you have multiple ways of inserting the recoil spring. One way is to insert it without extra pressure by opening the gas chamber and then doing this afterwards. That is one way of doing it. That doesn't require much effort. However, it is not the most recommended method and not the one I would like to use, so I am going to follow the original process. First I'm going to insert the trigger mechanism back. Have to make sure it fits correctly, and it does very easily. I'm going to insert the beginning of the slide and handle. Make sure this is the right way down. It is a fairly strong spring, and you have to be careful how you insert it and how you hold it. Make sure this is up. You can insert the slide on the gun or the gun on the slide, up to you. In this case, this did not work. Use the back of the magazine to push the spring back. It is a fairly strong spring in there. Make sure you can put it on release and take it back. Put the mag back in and you're done. Sorry it took longer than I wanted to. Just wanted to make sure to try to install the muzzle brake. It didn't work. Improving those old guns sometimes is hard, and that muzzle device might not be compatible. Right now I'm doing function check. I always check with the gloves and without the gloves. And also check half cocking, which is the non-shooting position for the Tokarev. As you can see, the gun is operatable. The main point of this firearm in the World War II was how cheap it can be produced. It is using the same caliber, so it was easy to produce ammunition. It is a bottle-shaped round, so there are some challenges from that perspective, but it is a very, very fast round. The bullet goes extremely fast. It is honestly much more modern caliber than the World War II needed, but it was the cheapest to produce. This is in many ways a continuation of the Browning pattern, FN 1903, not Colt 1903, but FN 1903 is almost exactly what this firearm is, with a few options from 1911. Remember, this came in 1930, 1933, where both of those were already present. It is honestly a very cheap firearm, but it is in many ways better than Nagan, which is impossible to reload quickly, just like most revolvers that don't flip out the cylinder. Russian army wanted a semi-automatic pistol to replace the aging revolver, and they did. As you can see, it has the American button model, probably the only gun in the Soviet inventory that had a button release, not the bottom European mag release. It is very technologically inexpensive to produce. It is probably the least expensive military mass-produced pistol of the World War II. Of the actual military pistol, not the Nimrods or those guys that don't cost anything, Liberator that costs $5 or something like that. Still, it served its purpose. It is much worse than 1911 ergonomics-wise, but it works. It's narrow, it's powerful, it has a fairly capacitive magazine, in comparison to the revolver at least. It can be used to go through basic cover, because again, 7.62 by 25 is very capable round as far as going through things. Very, very fast bullet. And it works. This is the gun that most officers, tank crews and so forth carried in the World War II, in the Soviet army. Of course, some carried Nagans, especially in the rear echelon, but in the army, most carried Tokarev. And this one might have served somewhere, maybe, maybe not. 1943 is about half point for the war. Just like all single action pistols, it has a fairly nice trigger, even though very simple. A very short reset, and you can do more damage. Kind of a crazy video in some ways. Hope it was interesting. I am going to try to install that muzzle brake still, maybe not. Got it off eBay. It is supposed to be compatible with an actual Russian 1933 Tokarev. Doesn't look to be the case. Now I'm not even sure if the grips are going to work or if it even makes sense. They're supposed to improve the ergonomics of the gun, but they're gonna break its shape completely. Hence, I am going to postpone installing all of these accessories. Maybe I'll get a different Tokarev to play around. Damaging original, non-safety, just a little bit of import marks Tokarev is maybe not the best idea in the world, especially in the US. Try to find one of these. That's about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.